Well, good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday evening, April 24th here. Wanted to produce an update video here that looks at the chance of likely significant severe weather, possibly even including a severe weather outbreak over the next couple days. So that would be beginning tomorrow, Thursday, late afternoon, going in through Thursday, Friday, Saturday potentially could be the biggest day. And then into our Sunday as well, at the very least. So, an active next 4 days of severe weather is very likely across much of the central US. So let's jump into it and discuss exactly what days and kind of where the threats will lie. This page here, this is the Storm Prediction Center outlook for the coming days. And we can see that we do have varying levels of severe risk outlined across the following days. Let me jump through each one of those and zoom down a little bit and talk about that. So, day two, which would be tomorrow, so that would be Thursday, April 25th. We do have a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for parts of southwestern and western Kansas, western Oklahoma, eastern Texas Panhandle, and northwest Texas. Does look like this dry line is going to set up, and we could have the potential of an all hazards threat. Could see some isolated supercells with certainly large hail, as well as the possibility of some tornadoes and even possibly very strong tornadoes at that. So tomorrow's a little bit conditional. It's some of the models aren't showing a huge amount of storms, so we'll have to see if that cap kind of holds. But if storms do form in these areas, they'll likely very quickly go severe. When we go into our day three, so that would be Friday, April 26th. We do have a level 2 out of 5 slight risk all the way from eastern Nebraska and much of Iowa, all the way down through eastern Kansas, much of Missouri, eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and down into North Texas, including areas like Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Kansas City, almost St. Louis, as well as Des Moines and Omaha. So could see some significant severe weather on Friday. It looks like likely we'll have two different rounds of severe storms, one early morning, early afternoon across much of the southern target here, as well as possibly up into Kansas City as well. And then likely later on, we're going to have a surface low out here over Nebraska that could fire off a line of supercell thunderstorms capable of all hazards, including tornadoes, likely in that mid to late afternoon for areas like eastern Nebraska, southwestern Iowa, as well as eastern Kansas and Missouri as well. Probably not quite as much of an afternoon threat down here in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, but we can't rule that out just yet. Then when we move into our day four, which would be Saturday, so that would be April 27th. This very likely could be the worst severe weather day out of the next four. We do have already a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk here from North Texas, much of central Oklahoma, as well as kind of southern and southeastern Kansas. Very possibly could see even a tornado outbreak take place. We're still a little bit far out, and the environment is going to be a little bit dependent upon what transpires, especially on Friday. So we don't know all of the details just yet, but some of the models are showing a very high end event, as well as lots of tornadic supercells and very possibly a good number of strong to violent tornadoes. So again, can't know for sure. It's too early to necessarily call it an outbreak, but some of the ingredients are present, and we could see that come together and be a really significant severe weather day. Then on our last of our 4 day stretch here on Sunday, that threat moves a little bit north and east, likely from northeast Texas all the way up into the Midwest, possibly as far as southern Wisconsin. This day here, it could be a lot of different scenarios that play out. It's possible that storms are ongoing for much of the day and it's just kind of messy, a lot of cloud cover, not a whole lot of instability builds. Or we could see a couple rounds of strong to severe thunderstorms and possibly even tornadoes. But again, at this point, we're still pretty far out with a couple days of storms in the meantime that will play a factor. But that is a look at our next 4 days here, and especially those severe threats for tomorrow, Thursday, Friday in certain areas, especially across the Midwest and maybe kind of the central plains. And then Saturday, the potential for a significant outbreak, possibly North Texas into southern Kansas as well. Let's jump into the models here real quickly and talk about some of the ingredients that are at play here. This is our upper level wind map here, so kind of that jet stream. And what we can see is as we move forward in time, when we get to our Thursday afternoon, you can see that we're going to have this large scale trough here in the jet stream. And so these colors here, these red and yellows, those are our faster wind speeds. And so we are going to have this first trough that noses into the panhandles and to Kansas by around sunset, possibly a little bit earlier tomorrow. So that would be Thursday. And then as we move forward in time, we have that continue to move up. And then for our Friday afternoon, again, we have that surface low that develops right here across Nebraska and South Dakota. And then we have a lot of that flow that loops up here across Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa and could trigger that severe weather for Friday. Then, when we move forward in time from Friday, we have yet another actually stronger trough and low pressure system that digs into Colorado, New Mexico here. And we have really, really strong winds and flow that rounds the base of this trough that we call it into parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. And that's going to be our trigger for the potential for really significant severe weather for our Saturday. Then, as we go into Sunday, again, this continues to push off to the east. And that's where our threat kind of moves a little bit further east to the Midwest and the Arklatex region as well. One of the things that we have at play here is a very, very moist environment. And so if we move back to where we are now, we can see 70s and 60-degree dew points all the way up into southern Oklahoma and the southeastern Texas panhandle right now as we speak. And as we move forward in time over the coming days, that continues to move north into parts of Kansas, almost up into Nebraska, and then continues to move again off into almost Iowa by Friday, and then again gets pulled north here Friday night into our Saturday, and is in place for that severe weather event on our Saturday, and then into Sunday across the Arklatex and the Midwest. So no lack of moisture that's going to be present. And then when we look at one of our kind of severe weather parameters that we look at, we can look at our EHI, which is kind of a composite parameter between our instability, moisture, and wind shear. And so where we see these yellow and red and purple colors, that's where we have our maximized values. So if we look at Thursday, this would be Thursday evening, we have, especially here in western Kansas, as well as the kind of eastern Texas panhandle, we have two kind of bullseyes. Here in North Texas, as much as this is a large parameter, the atmosphere is likely to remain capped, so I don't think we'll see any risk of storms here. But as we move forward in time into our Friday, and again, we get to Friday mid afternoon, we can see another bullseye here around the Omaha, Nebraska area, it nosing into Iowa, possibly even Kansas and Missouri here. And then as we move forward into our Saturday, we can really start to see these parameters blossom here. This would be across much of Kansas, western and central Oklahoma. That's likely going to be our target area here on Saturday. And so, again, we can just see just round after round each day of the potential for significant severe weather. And a lot of those ingredients that you typically see on these big severe weather days, certainly in recent memory, a lot of those parameters are in place. So, definitely over the next several days, Thursday through Sunday, stay weather aware if you live in any of these areas. Could be significant severe weather, including large hail and lots of tornadoes. So definitely have a way to get those watches and warnings. Stay tuned to updates and the National Weather Service and local meteorologists as well. And definitely I hope that everyone stays safe, and I'll see you back here for the next video.